So this is for the OpenStax chapter 6 from the statistics book. So I'm going to be using the Excel spreadsheet that I've created. I'm on the second tab. So you can reference the OpenStax book for free. You can look in the description of this video, and you can get the Excel workbook for free at my website, divideandconquermath.com. Just go to the OpenStax statistics section. Okay, so this tab is similar to the first tab in our workbook, but with a little twist. So what we're going to do is first we have now stock prices, and stock prices should also in theory be normally distributed. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the mean and standard deviation and min and max of this stock price data that I have. So first I'm going to take my average formula. I'm going to do it for my stock prices. I'm going to find my standard deviation. I'm assuming that this is a sample because it's only 123 stock prices. I'm going to take the minimum and the maximum of my data. So you can pause the video and just make sure that these are the values that you got also on your spreadsheet. And so from here, so similar thing to last time. So now we have our f of x column all filled in. So this particular f of x column, it works exactly like the first tab. So you can see here if I click on the formula what it's referencing. So it's referencing my mean and my standard deviation, and then it's taking each one of these data points and plugging it in as x in this f of x function, okay? So that's the first part of this. Now, the next part of this is that we want to calculate a z-score now for each data point. So this is the twist, and it's a little different from the previous one. So I do have my z-score formula pasted right here. So it's x minus mu over sigma. So I'm going to take each individual data point, that's my x. So let's see, type this in. This is going to be equals. So there's my x minus my mean. So it's always going to be x minus the mean. Since we're always referencing that same cell of the mean, we're going to lock it down. So I'm going to hit the F4 button to put dollar signs around all of this. So remember, dollar signs are what indicate that you want to lock down a cell reference. Then we'll divide this by the standard deviation. So there we go. Okay, so before I go any farther, so we are calculating z-scores. So z-scores are not going to be necessarily associated with a currency. So Excel just auto-formatted to this. And so we just, we want to think critically when we're working through Excel. Excel just automatically does goofy things sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to just a general number, just like this. Okay. So I should, in theory, be able to write now one formula for the z-score and drag it down. And there's two ways that I can drag this. So I could just take the little black cross and drag this all the way down, and I can just do a quick check and see that, yes, I'm still taking each data point and I'm referencing everything the way that I want to reference this. So you could do the long way and drag this all the way down. I am, of course, going to show you a shortcut for this just to kind of build up your Excel skills. So the alternative to this would be that you could copy the formula, arrow over to a column that you know has the amount of data that you want filled in. So in this case, this column, if you look down, see how it's filled all the way down to the bottom? So this would be like a fully filled in column. So I'm going to take Control C, arrow over, Control Shift down. So now I have all of the data selected, and I want to get to the last data point here. So to do that, I hit Shift Tab, and you'll notice now this is a white box. I can arrow over to this way and then do Control Shift up. So what this has done now is this has allowed me to select all of the data that I need to fill in. You can see how this is still blinking, so this is still actively copied. So if I hit Control V, then it just fills in all of my other values. So I'll show you that one more time, and then if you need to reference this again, you can always rewind the video. So the way that I did that, I did Control C, arrowed over, Control Shift down, Shift Tab. When I Shift Tab, now this is highlighted, so then I can arrow over to the column that I'm trying to fill in, and then Control Shift up. That now takes me to the top of the data, and then Control V, so now I've filled everything in. Okay, so okay, great. So now I have two different sets of data that we're going to work with. And so notice in this case now I have my f of x function. So this is just a little bit different. I wrote this in a slightly different way because I want you to notice that when you look at this f of x formula, so I've got this x minus mu over sigma. What is this? this is the formula for a z-score. So this f of x function references just the z-score instead of going through like this one did, where we're calculating and using the mean and the standard deviation and the stock price. You can avoid all of that, and you can just go ahead and reference the z-score and the standard deviation. It's tomato, tomato. Notice that the f of x values for each of these are the same. So I just like slightly changed how I was computing these formulas, and I got the exact same output. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make two different scatter plots to compare what's going on with the normal distribution versus the standard normal distribution. So for my normal distribution, I'm going to select all of my gray data. So I'm going to go down here, got all my data. I'm going to go to the Insert tab. I like going through recommended charts. I'll take this one. Okay, so there's my first scatter plot. Now I don't want to forget what this is. So this is for my normal distribution is what this is supposed to represent. So I'm going to write normal distribution here instead of f of x. It's a better name. And then I'm going to do it again for the green data. So this is going to give me my standard normal distribution. So I've selected all the green data. Going to go through, bada bing, bada boom. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to give this a better name. So I'm going to call this, Excel keeps popping up stuff I don't need yet. Standard normal distribution. Okay, cool. So looking at these two graphs, there is one unsightly thing that I don't like about this. So this axis being in the middle is super awkward. And the reason that happened is because here's the 0 axis, right? That y-axis. So Excel will naturally want to put your labels next to your axis. So if you don't want that to happen, so a lot of times with Excel, it's just kind of playing around until you find the feature that you want. So I'm going to click specifically on this axis, and then I'm going to hit Format Axis. And I'll tell you that before I shot this video, I just had to play around and figure this out. It's not like I'm this omniscient, like I know everything. Like I have to just kind of look for stuff too. So this to me is a set of labels. So you'll notice here, there is this area that says labels. And I just played around with this. So if I set this to high, so my labels moved, but they moved over here. So I don't like that position. So if I come over here to label position and set it to low, now I like how this looks. And now this looks a lot nicer. So I'm happy. And so this is pretty cool because what we've done is we've taken real data and we've created a normal and a standard normal distribution with it. And so now let's actually talk about what's going on with each of these. So first of all, you'll notice that the graphs are not as filled in as the previous tab. That totally makes sense. So in the previous tab, we had 10,000 data points. 10,000 data points is a nice, robust data set. This is only 123 data points. That's really not that much. It's like 100-ish data points. So that's really not that much, but it's still enough to see that you clearly get a normal distribution with all of those data points. So that's all good. It's okay that it's a little bit more sparse and filled out. And of course we have a couple of outliers, so we would expect that. So the next things to notice are that the y-axis is the same. So that makes sense because that y-axis, that is your f of x output. So these two things were the same, right? We were just talking about how both of these calculations came out the same. So the y-axis should be the same in both. The only real difference here is what's going on down here on the x-axis. And this really is the crux of what makes the normal versus the standard normal distribution. So the normal distribution will always be like the peak. So we say that the peak is the center, even though in this case it's not perfectly the center. It's because we have a few outliers here, but we always consider the peak to kind of be the center of the normal distribution. So it always peaks at the mean. So my mean was up here, 1761. So if I kind of just approximate where this is got its peak, that does look at around the 17 mark, right? So that's appropriate. So the normal distribution, when you have your set of data, is always going to be centered at the mean, versus the standard normal distribution is always, 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 always centered at 0. Here's my peak, boink, 0. That's always going to happen. So the standard normal distribution is always created in the same way, in that if you take the z-scores, that is now creating like the same axis for any data set. So I created all of these z-scores. That's now talking about how many standard deviations each data point is from the mean. So the mean is the centering point, and all the other data points are now in relation to the mean. So the mean is the 0 point, and then this is talking about how many standard deviations away we are. So key things to remember, though, is even from this real data that we just created, standard normal distribution, always centered at 0, and then everything else going out here, this is all z-scores. So the x-axis here for the normal distribution, this is from real data. That's why we have dollar signs down here. That's dollar signs that's appropriate because the real data here was a stock price, right? So that's okay. Versus standard normal distribution, this axis here is z-scores. So super important to kind of keep these two things straight. They're very, very similar. Any normal distribution can be converted into a standard normal distribution using the process that we've just seen. But you want to just understand everything that kind of goes into that process.